Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Saeed Ahmed. Welcome in the third tutorial of salary model management. In the last two tutorials, we discussed the basic calculations to calculate the salary model management system. But in today's, we are considering that we have to calculate salary on the basis of time in and time out of an employee. So whenever they go to the company or their office, they simply time in, and when they come back from their office, they simply time out. How our system calculate their number of working hours of that day. So here I'm going to use a simple calculation for only one day for the October, while rest of other days it already have been done by me. So if you have a concept of one day, then you can calculate for other days as well. So to calculate the number of hours using time in and time out, have to use a formula that is known as modulus. For example, if I enter a time in, whenever you will enter a time in a cell, you will get a format like this, but we want output like in this format. For that, you have to go to the format cells, or you may press the key combination Control 1 or Control Shift 1, and then you have to select a custom format. In this case, we are selecting number of hours, number of minutes, AM and PM. Then see, I'm getting 9 AM is my time in, while time out is 4 PM. Now calculating the number of working hours, for that I'm using a formula, and that's the mode. Then I'm subtracting time in from time out like this, and then I'm putting there 1 as the divisor. So then we are multiplying this by 24 hours, because we have 24 hours a day. So I'm getting a result 7 hours. What if an employee coming in the night at 1 AM, while his out time was 11 AM on the daytime? So same formula we apply, and we get result 10 hours working hours, and same we can do for other calculations as well. So in this tutorial, I just calculated the salary for 10 days on the basis of that in each day we are working for 8 hours, which means total are 80 hours of that particular month for 10 days. So now I calculated the total working hours in the month of October for 10 days, and that's, for example, if I use a formula, and that formula is very simple, you all are familiar, that's a sum up formula. So I'm simply applying sum and then adding all the working hours of the 10 days, which giving me the result is 77.83, because somewhere else we are working for 7.33 hours. If I explore over here, the employee time in was 9:40 AM, while out time was 5 PM. That's why the total working hours of that day we are having 7.33. So as the result, we are having 77.83 result. Now we need to calculate the basic salary using the same formula which we have done in the previous tutorial. We look up from the policy sheet and name as salary policy, and the task which we have for today is that we have to calculate here the working hours salary on the basis of working hours which she did in a particular month. Now we have to calculate the salary against actual working hours in a month. So for that I have to apply a check, in that I'm asking that if my working hours are less than or equal to 80, then simply I'm doing the basic salary divided by 80. Why 80? Because we need per hour salary. Then multiply this by the working hours, that's 70, else 0. For example, else 0. So for 77.83 hours we are earning 90,458. What if we exact have, for example, 80 hours in a month, so we are getting here the 20,000. But what if we have more than 80 hours? For example, we are working 90 hours. Now here I'm getting salary 0. So in this case we are making a restriction, and that is that if an employee works more than 80 hours, in this working hours column she is only getting maximum salary for 80 hours, while for the extra 10 hours according to this input that is given him or her in the overtime column. So I have to apply another check else, which means that if an employee not less or not equal, obviously that is greater, then we say basic salary again divided by 80 for per hour rate, and then multiplied by, in this case, number of hours. Okay, if I press enter, so I'm getting here 22,500, while I'm supposed to get here only 20,000, while rest of other 1200 500 should be given in the overtime. So for that I have to add here a little bit more, and that is, if this is this syntax, this part of the syntax giving me 22,500, while we need only 20,000, from that I have to subtract, and that subtraction part is that basic salary again, in this case this divided by 80, this, and then multiply this by working hours minus 80, and now I'm getting here 20,000. So let me explain this part. If I write this part in the different way, here I'm getting here 22,500, while from this part I'm getting here 1250. Okay, so 22,000 minus 1250 will give me 20,000. You can see over here I'm writing the same thing, that the basic salary divided by 8 multiplied by the total 90 hours is giving me what, 22,500. And what if I do the basic salary divided by 80 multiplied by working hours minus 80, because the standard is 80 for 10 days with respect to 8 hours working. So that's why I'm getting here minus 2,500, which will give me 20,000 over here. And then for others you can go drag and drop, and same in the home allowances. So this is the entire syntax which giving me only salary for the 80 number of hours, not for 90 hours. So the extra 10 hours we will calculate this in the overtime column. Now what to do, what if I bring this into actual form, again giving me the required salary. Now we assume again here 19 hours. For that we are going to calculate the overtime. Now at this stage we calculated the home allowances, which we have done in the last tutorial. Then we go for the medical allowances, fuel allowances, increment bonuses and PF fund, which we have done in the last tutorial in detail. Now what to do, the task is over here. I have to calculate here the number of extra working hours. For that what I did, actually I passed here the working hours, that's 90 minus standard, that was 80. So this is giving me the calculation that 10 working hours we did extra. Now I have to calculate the amount for this 10 hours. For that I'm using a formula, and that formula is giving me a check, because over here if I say for example, just delete this portion right now. Let me explain this another way, and that is okay. So what we have, we do have here a policy table as well. In this policy table, according to this policy table, we say that for one number of working hour 100% of a per hour rate, and for 30 10% additional, for 60 120% additional, for 90 130%, and so on. Here these are the total number of working hours in a month that we did extra. So according to that we have assigned a rate. So according to this, what if I say that okay, so if I apply a Vlookup formula, here we say this, then what we need over here, we need the overtime policy table, and that is overtime policy. You may grab this from here. And what we want rate. We have discussed this last time, and then we need to if I just press enter, so simple, I'm getting here rate, because that's 100%, that's equivalent to 1. So this is required to multiply it by the basic salary. In this case my basic salary is this one, and this salary then divided by 80. Why 80? Because we have discussed that we are assuming we are calculating salary for 80 hours. So 80 and multiplied by number of hours which we did extra. So I'm getting here salary 2500. Okay, what if an employer having 0, that means we do not have anything. So for that we have to apply a check, that if the number of working hours are less than 1, then we say 0, else we say do this. We have discussed this last time in detail. So we did this one. For example, if dummy I put here 0, that's mean no overtime, so that's means 0. That's why we applied a check. Otherwise if we are not applying a check, we will get a symbol hash and not applicable. So now what to do here, we are supposed to calculate the number of leaves. So here number of leaves, how we can calculate? Again we can calculate on the basis of the working hours. Here we say if an employee, obviously if an employee do not working, over here if an employee if an employee do not working as a overtime, that's mean the number of hours are less than 1, it means 0 or maybe minus 1 and so on. So what we say that go to subtract the number of working hours from the standard days, and that are 80, else give me 0 answer. So here in this case we do not have anything. What if we say in this case, look here, we do not have anything over here, it means the employee in this cell AQ6, he or she did not do any extra work, that's why we are having value less than 0. So we say 80, that's the standard hours, minus A6 H6, and that's the working hours, and in that case we have 47. While in 47 we do not calculate any leave or any additional deductions. What if what if an employee, for example in this case, here we are asking that employee she did 77.83 while he was supposed to do 80 hours, which means 2 point something, that's mean 2.22 he got late. So that's why the result is negative. That's mean total number of working hours minus 80 will give me the number of hours for which he or she got late, and for this we do not have any sort of overtime amount, that's why we applied this check over here, else we are getting hash not applicable symbol. Okay, now how we can deduct the amount for these 2.2 hours which she made late, they did not come on work for 2.2 hours. So over here first I need to calculate the number of hours for that he or she came late. So what I'm asking here, if this number of hours is less than 1, it means the 80 minus the number of working hours 80, and in this case the minus number of working hours 77.33, so I'm getting a result 2.17. Now for these 2.17 we need to calculate the deductions. So for that I have to apply again a formula of Vlookup. We are familiar with that. Vlookup, we say if this figure that exists again in the leave deduction policy which we already made, and what we want his the rate of that is in column 2. For example in this case 100, you can see over here the again leave deduction rate is given in this case 0.1 to 100 is 100%, while 1 again is 100%, and then so on. Okay, so what I need to apply over here, I'm supposed to multiply this with the salary, that's mean basic salary in this case, that's AI5 basic salary divided by 80 to get the per hour rate, and this I multiply with the number of hours she got late, this one, and pressing enter. So I'm getting here 541 point something, that is the rate. So let me verify this because it's deduction, so just put over there minus. What if there is not a late, so let me apply a check over here. If this is equal to 0, then the result is 0, else do this. So or in this case, right, let's see what if an employee works for exact 80 days. I'm just changing the input, obviously then we are not getting here the result for the leave deduction, because we do not have any late hours, so no deduction. But if we have 77 point something, so it means 2.17 hours we made late, so we have deductions. So let's verify from this figure using the calculator so that we can match the results. So the salary which we are earning is 20,000, and then divided by 80 hours, giving me 250 rupees per hour, while multiply this by 2.17, that's giving me exact 842.5, which we are getting the same one. Okay, for rest of other you can go and calculate the figures. And the next we have gross salary, which we have already done the last time, and as well as the net salary and the final salary. Hope that you have understood this tutorial. If you have any query, just please give me your question in your comments. And if you like this tutorial, please do not forget to subscribe. Hope to see you in coming tutorial.